If you're looking to be more efficient with your time, you're in the right place. This is a mini series within the Small Business Big Visibility podcast where we're deep diving into time management. How do you use the time that you have on this planet to effectively accomplish the things you want to in life? Did you know that many small business owners have some form of ADD, ADHD? It's like 30%. If you're one of those people, this is especially for you because as a small business owner, there's so many things you're supposed to be doing simultaneously, so many responsibilities, so many emails coming in, text messages, phone calls, other messages, employees reaching out to you. It's chaos. And yet our brains are both wired for that and distracted by that. So there's so many tips, tricks, and strategies we've already covered in previous episodes and we'll be covering in future ones as well that help you zero in, zone in, laser in, so that you can really accomplish what you're wanting to out of your life. Today, I wanted to talk about what would you do if you did have more time. For just a moment, think about if you had 24 hours a day where you had no obligations, no responsibilities, what would you be doing? All right? Think about that because oftentimes people are wanting to get away from their work or they want to do something else. And they're like, oh, I just wish I could not be working so much. What would you do if you weren't working so much? All right. So I had a friend, and this has been several years ago. There was actually a few friends that were all trying together to figure out, can we operate on less sleep? And they were trying for, I think, like 2 to 4 hours a night was their target. They wanted to only sleep out of 24 hours, 2 to 4 hours a night. Now, the average human, they say roughly 8 hours of sleep. So these people were trying to get an extra 4 to 6 hours every single day. Could you imagine having that extra 4 to 6 hours? What would you do with that time? You know, the funniest thing is they worked on this for months. They were trying all these different strategies and they were trying so many different things to figure it out. And I had another friend and he was like, so how's it going? They're like, oh, we're doing pretty good. I think we're almost to a breakthrough. And he's like, so how much are you sleeping? And they're like, we're close to that. He's like, well, what do you do with your extra time? Like you've got so much extra time. And they're like, well, most of the time we're just like talking on the phone to each other or doing video chats or we're gaming. And my friend was like, what? You're spending 4 to 6 hours per day talking to each other on the phone, video chats and gaming? Like, why? Aren't you wanting to accomplish more with your life? Like, why not just go sleep that extra time? Like, you're not doing anything productive. You're not accomplishing anything. You're not building anything with all that extra time. You're literally just wasting your time. And you might as well be sleeping so that when you wake up, you're refreshed and ready to go. And eventually those friends, I think they kind of saw the light and they're like, oh yeah, why are we just wasting our time not sleeping and just talking on the phone about nothing to each other all the time? We should be either doing something with our life or we should be sleeping. And I think that they chose sleeping, which is a wise choice. So few things to think about from that. If you don't have a big direction of where you're hoping to get to in life, if you don't have your purposes identified, and you don't have small steps figured out of what you're going to do to move towards those, you may end up with all this extra time in a little while and then feel lost. I can tell you it's not uncommon for people to retire and look around and be like, I have no purpose. What's the point of my life now? For the last 40 years, I've been working. I don't have work anymore. What do I do with myself? And they're lost. And people that get lost in that sense oftentimes pass away a lot quicker than the people that have those visions, the purpose, the goals, the hope, the things they want to do. So what would you do with your time? This kind of reminds me of Alice in Wonderland with the Cheshire Cat. Alice turns to the cat and she's like, which path do I take? And the cat's like, well, that depends on where you want to go. Alice didn't know where she wanted to go. And the cat says it doesn't matter which path you take. If you go and do all these things so that you have more time in your life, but you don't have any reason to have more time, you'll probably just actually be less happier than you are now because you won't be fulfilled with the time you're having. So one of the critical steps to being able to use your time efficiently is to figure out, what am I hoping to accomplish? Maybe you've set some New Year's resolutions. Maybe you have some goals. I know in my life, I have several purposes. And some of those purposes I know I'll eventually accomplish. Others, like being a father and a husband, those are lifetime things for me. And I'm never going to accomplish them, but I can constantly be getting better at doing activities that make me great at being a husband or great at being a father. So I have those purposes. I have other purposes and goals, things that I can measure and they have a finite finish date. And I will eventually accomplish those. But if I didn't have those at a big level and then have steps I can take that are going to lead me towards the big level, having all the time in the world is a curse instead of the blessing you're looking for. So I would love it if you would take a piece of paper out and write down what are the big purposes, what are the big visions, what's your, some people call it your why. I'm not a huge fan of that, but what is it that you want to be doing and accomplishing with your life? Write down the big things and then write down a few small steps that you can be taking so that when you do start discovering more time, you're going to be able to fill it with some of these things. Now, on the flip side, and we're going to talk about this in some more episodes here coming up shortly, if you do have those things that you're hoping to accomplish, and maybe they only take 10 minutes or a half an hour or 15 minutes, you can start sliding those items into your day each day, and you're going to start living with more intention at the start of the day. And at the end of the day, you can look back and be like, wow, I did this, 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 and this. All those are going to lead me closer to my goal. Now, if you watch the first episode in this miniseries, I talked a little bit about my friend who seemed to be working far less than me, and in a few years' time had gone from further from his goals to way accomplishing a ton of his goals and doing far more. And I was still 5 years out from any of the things I was hoping to accomplish. One of the reasons why he was able to move so quickly towards those goals is he knew the small steps he had to take, and he put those into his life and started taking those small steps instead of getting distracted with all of the squirrels in his life. So that's one of the tricks, one of the strategies. Figure out what the big vision is, figure out what a few of those steps are, start incorporating those into your daily routine, and before you know it, you're well on your way towards accomplishing some of the purposes and visions you have for your life.